It's wonderful to see such a large crowd on a Monday afternoon, on a work day right after Easter weekend. So shout out to everyone here for showing up, for more housing, for connected communities, for climate action. Give yourselves a round of applause. All right. My name is Jeff Paul. I'm the co-executive director of House Our Neighbors. We advocate for social housing in Seattle and beyond. We are a proud coalition member of the Complete Communities Coalition, who is here today inviting y'all into this rally to talk about what we need in this comprehensive plan. Very excited to be with y'all today and very excited for the amazing speakers that we have to show support for a bold vision for this phase of the comprehensive plan. Quick raise of hands. Who here is familiar with the Centers and Corridors legislation of comprehensive plan? Oh, okay, our people are here. Our people are here. All right, I'm glad to see that we all know what we're here to talk about. Just a quick little bit of information. We've got a table over here. It's going to have information about what we're advocating for in the plan, the amendments that the CCC has proposed and is pushing forward. You're going to hear about a bunch of stuff that we need today from our amazing speakers, but feel free to grab some talking points, grab those flyers, sign up for our volunteer list. This is just the beginning, really, of advocacy for this phase. This is the first public hearing. There's going to be another one in June, and there's a whole bunch of work to be done between now and then to get the word out about a need for a bold, comprehensive plan. So we hope that you'll just think of this as the first step in a push for what Seattle really needs to plan for growth in a way that's going to bring about housing affordability, more connected communities, in the kinds of neighborhoods that we want to see. All right, so with that, I'm going to hand it off to our first speaker, our YIMBY-in-Chief, the Mayor, Katie Wilson.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. How are y'all doing this afternoon? Woo. You ready to build more housing? Okay. Well, thank you so much to the Complete Communities Coalition for bringing everyone together today to rally around these deeply important, if somewhat esoteric, topic of the day, Seattle's municipal zoning codes. Yes. So thank you to Jeff, Cecelia, Colleen, all our speakers, and thank you to Councilmember Rinck, a great partner and champion in the push to build cities where every person, every family can make a thriving home. I'm going to do a few thank yous here. I also want to thank Council President Hollingsworth for her work to get the comprehensive plan update across the finish line, and to Councilmember Lynn for assuming the role of chair of the Comprehensive Planning Committee and for rolling up his sleeves on the work ahead. I am very eager to get to work, to use our upcoming work to lay the groundwork, that's a lot of work, for an affordable, welcoming Seattle now and long into the future. Our comprehensive plan establishes a once-in-a-decade vision for more housing choices in more places across the city of Seattle. Taking big steps to implement that plan through zoning is the work that we need to do, and Centers and Corridors is an important first step. However, we need to do more sooner to fully meet the scale and urgency of our housing crisis. Last week, you heard me announce my administration's taller, denser, faster housing growth plan. I guess that's the official name now. What that means is that we are going to start with a more inviting, optimistic assumption of our growth capacity. Yes. Seattle is a great place to live, and people are moving here in droves. That adds to the pressures of scarcity, and we are planning for a bright future. That increased housing capacity is the foundation to meet the scale of our housing crisis. We are going to plan to allow more housing in every neighborhood. Yes. Creating an equitable distribution and meaningful housing choices. Every neighborhood should be an open, welcoming place for people and families to live. I believe that every resident deserves the opportunity to live on peaceful, beautiful streets in places they love. Right now, we focus the densest housing on the busiest arterial roads. That has the effect of putting housing on the main roads that can have air, noise, and safety impacts for residents. We intend to add more housing options in healthy, walkable neighborhoods with access to transit, parks, and open space, not just along the busy corridors. Now, here in Seattle, we love our public transit, and that means that we are also excited about transit-oriented development, which is why my plan is going to lead the way on HB 1491 compliance. Who all knows what that means? Okay, that's right. So we're not just going to meet the deadline of this new state legislation. We're going to be ambitious. We're going to beat that deadline. We are also going to, you can clap for that, yes. We're not dragging our feet here. We are also going to allow for more opportunities in and around our growth centers, including new and expanded neighborhood centers. That will help us to meet the demands of the people who live here now and our growing, thriving city. This is urgent. Seattle's housing crisis cannot wait. There is no reason to delay providing homes while also protecting our environment, supporting small businesses. So we are acting with that urgency in mind. What was planned to take 2 or 3 years and touch only part of the city will now be completed in 1 year, reaching more neighborhoods. This accelerated timeline means housing and development and density can happen sooner in more places. I believe that every resident deserves the opportunity to find the housing they need in neighborhoods across the city with easy access by walking, rolling, or taking transit to jobs, shops, cultural amenities, and open space, and to live on peaceful and beautiful streets in the places they love. We, alongside all of you, intend to deliver on that vision. Thank you.
Mayor Wilson, I was wondering if while we've got you, would you want to take a quick picture with the crowd?
Great.
All right. All right, we're going to take a quick pause between our speakers to ask the mayor to come and take a quick picture with the crowd. So everyone kind of scooch in, get close, get in here, take a quick picture. All right, get it up one more time for Mayor Wilson. That is an enormous announcement. Understanding the need to move quickly and boldly on the comprehensive plan is so refreshing to hear, so I'm happy to hear that we have a mayor who is taking this seriously. Up next, we are going to hear from Colleen Echohawk. She is the CEO of Community Roots and is a longtime community advocate. Give it up for Colleen.
Good afternoon, Seattle. I am so glad to be here. I am 6 months into being the CEO at Community Roots Housing. We provide over 2,500 units around the city. Really out in Capitol Hill was where we have most of our buildings. And I was recently with our team, we were doing a food pantry. And this elder came through our line. She went through our line, she picked out some potatoes, she picked out some apples, some onions, some pasta. And then one of our team said, "Would you like some chicken?" And her eyes lit up, and we gave her the package of chicken, and she clutched it to her chest, and she said, "I feel so rich over a package of chicken." And the reason I share that with you is that we know that Seattle is becoming more and more expensive for some of the most important people in our city. We are talking about senior citizens, teachers, people who have worked in our bars and our restaurants, who are hungry for protein. They're not getting it. We have hunger in this city that is just absolutely unbelievable. And we have to take action now. That's why we're here. That's why so many of you have come out on this beautiful day. We know that housing is crucial and essential for people's stability. We know we have to build faster with intent in protecting and preserving the heart and soul of Seattle. And the heart and soul of Seattle is our people. It's that elder who I was speaking to. We are the heart and soul of Seattle, and we deserve, every single one of us, to live and to be housed. We have to tell the truth about why we got here. We have to recognize the history that Seattle did not become segregated, unaffordable, and exclusionary by accident. This city was shaped by policy. It was shaped by decisions about who belonged and who did not belong. In 1865, the city passed an ordinance that displaced native tribal people, Coast Salish people. That was not just one act from the distant past. It set a pattern. It told a story about land, power, and belonging. It said that native people, the first people of this place, could be pushed aside for someone else's vision of the city, and that story did not end there. Later, redlining and racist housing policies took that same logic and embedded it into neighborhoods, lending, zoning, and opportunity. Entire communities were locked out. Native people, Black families, and other communities of color were denied access to home ownership, denied access to wealth, denied access to safe and stable neighborhoods, and denied the chance to stay rooted in a city that they helped build. So when we talk about housing today and we talk about the comp plan, we are not just talking about more units. We are talking about repair, healing, reconciliation. That's right. We can clap for that. We are talking about justice and giving opportunity for everyone to belong in the city. We are talking about whether Seattle will keep protecting the map that exclusion created, or whether we will finally have the courage to change it. Every time we delay more housing, when we delay density, we are not preserving neighborhood character. We are preserving the outcomes of exclusion. Every time we say housing should go somewhere else, we are repeating the old story that some people belong and some people do not. Every time we refuse to build in wealthy neighborhoods, high opportunity neighborhoods, neighborhoods close to jobs and transit and good schools, we're saying that access should be rationed by race and income. And this is what makes this moment so important. We are citizens and voters who have said no more. We know the history. We know the stories of redlining, exclusionary zoning, and unjust housing systems. The comp plan is not just about growth, it's about justice. That's right. It is about whether every neighborhood will do its part. It's about whether we will create room for what Martin Luther King Jr. called the beloved community. And when I say beloved community, I mean the real people that I'm meeting every day, the residents in our units at Community Roots Housing, the teachers, the elders, the server at your bar and restaurant, the parent who's healing from trauma, the artist, the service worker, the family trying to stay close to school, to community, and to opportunity. These are not the people on the margins of Seattle. These are the people at the heart of Seattle. They are the heart and soul of our communities. They are the people who make our neighborhoods vibrant, who keep our small businesses open. They ride transit, they shop, they are drivers of our economy, and they are an asset to every neighborhood. If this city is serious about living out our progressive values, and I want to remind everyone around us right now, we are the coolest, best city ever. We can do this. We have progressive values that ensure that social housing would be passed, that our mayor, Wilson, has been voted in. Like, amazing, spectacular things are happening right now. And as we bring that into our heart, into our minds, we know that the people who live in affordable housing cannot be an afterthought. They cannot just be talked about in public meetings, policy papers, and planning documents. They need to be at the table. They need to be heard. They need to help shape the future of the city. The Seattle Comp Plan has had the most extensive outreach to every part of the city. It's historic, the outreach that has been done, and this is our moment. Our moment to break with the history of redlining, our moment to break with the legacy of Native displacement, our moment to say that we will not keep hoarding opportunity behind zoning, delay, and fear. Our moment is to choose welcome over exclusion. Our moment is to choose courage over comfort. Our moment is to choose justice over delay. Let's support this comp plan. Corridors, centers, everything about this comp plan. Let's accelerate it. Let's do it faster. Let's do it with greater intensity and with love for our beloved community. Let's build the housing our people need, and let's build Seattle with neighborhoods that make room for every community, shares opportunity, especially those who've been pushed out for far too long. Let's welcome them in and let them know that they belong here as well. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much for that grounding in really why we're here beyond just the policy wonk of the comprehensive plan, and really why this is so important. Can we just give it up one more time for Colleen Echohawk? That was incredible. I know I talk with different folks about the comprehensive plan, and it's pretty easy for people to be like, what is that? What are you talking about? And I just want us to all hold for a second what we're actually talking about when we're talking about these policy changes. When we're talking about rezoning, it's everything that Colleen just mentioned. So I just hope we can all sit with that and recognize the importance of this work and why we're here today. And to keep that moving forward, I'm going to introduce our next speaker, Cecelia Black. Cecelia is a very long time, amazing community advocate who is here to speak today about why she is so motivated to see changes in the comprehensive plan. Give it up for Cecelia.
Cool. Is this working? Can you hear me?
Let's do this.
Are we good?
Make sure you're talking kind of into both, I think, so that this one hears you too.
Okay, the mic test for a quiet person. Thank you so much for having me. I was knowing that I would be speaking alongside Mayor Wilson, Colleen Echohawk, Councilmember Rinck. I was really trying to think about what can I add to this conversation on the comprehensive plan. And what I really want to share with you is how I think about so much of my advocacy, and that is through a lens of accessibility. My wish for Seattle is for it to be a city where people with disabilities can call it their home. And I say this not just because we make up over 20% of the population, not only because we will all hopefully live long enough to where we experience disability at some point in our life, but because time and time again we know that an inclusive city benefits everyone. An accessible city is first and foremost an affordable city. It means that there are stair-free options and buildings with elevators. It is multi-generational housing and housing options for parents with disabilities and families with disabled children. It is accessibility means housing where aging in place is possible, as well as options for people who can no longer safely navigate their homes. It's supportive housing, and it's quality community-based housing options for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. An accessible city means people who are immunocompromised and have chronic health conditions have the opportunity to live in housing and neighborhoods that do not risk their lives by being exposed to chemicals on a daily basis. Accessibility means non-drivers can not only live near fast and frequent transit, but have services and those third places that make our communities, that build our community, and also are so essential to addressing the isolation that can be felt when you're trapped in your home without a car. And just for a little context, less than 5% of the housing stock nationwide is accessible. We know that people with disabilities face some of the highest levels of housing insecurity. We know that the majority of people that are living on our streets have a disability. And in Washington State, there are 37,000 adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities that are housing insecure. Before we passed this comprehensive plan last year, the type of housing that is required to be accessible by federal and state law, as well as the businesses that make our communities walkable, were banned in 70% of our city. A exclusionary city is completely incompatible with an accessible city. But we have made progress. We have replaced single-family zoning with new neighborhood residential zones that allow for stacked flats with incentives for developers to build accessible units. We have these neighborhood residential zones allow for corner stores that will slowly make our cities more walkable. And we have allowed for 30 new neighborhood centers that allow for 6-story developments. Those are developments that are most likely to be accessible, as well as create small commercial corridors. But we know that this is not nearly enough to meet that housing crisis, and is not enough to meet the diverse needs of the disability community. So what can we do right now as City Council considers phase 2 of the comp plan, and the city prepares legislation for phases 3 and 4? First, we need more density and a vision for complete walkable communities, not just for the handful of blocks in the neighborhood centers, but for the entire city. And we can start this with our transit corridors by vastly expanding the proposed corridor upzones beyond the parcels adjacent to arterials to create 10-minute walk sheds. These extended corridors must include more mixed residential zoning with commercial opportunities. Families and renters deserve to have options beyond busy arterials, as well as access to fast and frequent transit. Second, we have to make sure that when we upzone areas like neighborhood centers, our zoning regulations align with market realities to support our stated goals. The bottom line is that 6-story buildings are essential to addressing our housing crisis. They are more economically feasible and more likely to have elevators and meet the threshold that triggers accessibility standards. And not to get too into the weeds, but we need to maximize mixed residential zoning in neighborhood centers, and we need to replace all low-rise L1 and L2 zones that we know are not going to materialize in the density and accessible housing we need. And we need to replace them with more high-rise zoning for 5- and 6-story buildings. And lastly, we need to expand housing opportunities in high-opportunity areas with low displacement risk. Almost all of the upzones that got scaled back in the current centers and corridors proposal are in wealthy neighborhoods. And while policies can change and comp plans get updated every 10 years, what we build between now and then will last generations. We have an obligation to future Seattleites to pass a comp plan that considers the needs of entire communities and not just individual homeowners. We also owe it to our past to understand the communities who have been excluded and harmed by decades of exclusionary land use policies, and have a duty not to repeat those same patterns. I know that most of us have been working on this comp plan for it seems like years. We've been filled out all of the surveys. We've showed up to all the council meetings, and we've worked hard to get electeds voted in that represent our values. And so I just want to close by saying that right now, we have, not only do we have Councilmember Rinck, who's still on City Council and still a huge housing ally, but we have Mayor Wilson and we have Councilmember Lynn. And so as we continue to advocate, we have more possibility than ever before to pass a comprehensive plan that includes everybody. Thank you.
Wait, let me come over here. Okay. Sorry while I figure this out. Oh, thank you so much. All right, camera guys, how'd I do? Are we good? All right. One more time for Cecelia. It's just so wonderful to have such amazing advocates in our community who are so deeply aligned with our city's values. Seattle is a city that values accessibility. Seattle is a city that values climate action, that values affordability, that wants to make sure that all of our families, regardless of ability, income, background, race, class, all of the things can be welcomed within our city. That's who we want to be, and this comp plan is how we put those values into action through legislation. So I'm so glad that we have so many wonderful speakers and so many wonderful folks here in the audience who also could all come up and share incredible things about why we need this in a comprehensive plan. Fortunately, you're all going to get an opportunity to do that right up there in just a few hours. But to round us out here, actually, really quick, before our last speaker, I want to give a quick shout out to Jesse and Jasmine. There are two co-chairs. The co-chairs of the Complete Communities Coalition with the Housing Development Consortium and with FutureWise. They have done so much to make this a reality. So just like huge hats off to them. And really shout out to the entire steering committee. Raise your hand if you're on the steering committee, you're in the crowd today. Hey, all the folks in the steering committee, all the folks in the outside working group, the inside working group, raise those hands. This really has been a community effort to kind of think through what this policy is going to look like, make this rally happen, and make sure that we're set up for success. So just so much gratitude to everyone who's been a part of this coalition. For our last speaker, I'm going to bring in someone who needs no introduction. She is our champion on council, though now, fortunately, we've given her a few more. It is Councilmember Alexis Rinck here to talk about what we need this phase and next phase of the comprehensive plan.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, housing champions. This is a rally, right? I'm going to bring out my rally voice, and I want to hear you a little bit. Good afternoon, housing champions! That's right! Hi, everybody. My name's Alexis. I'm one of the only renters on city council, despite being in a majority renter city. I'm also the only council member who doesn't own a car, proudly representing the 20% of Seattle households who live car-free. And last year, we stood together to build a city that works for all of us. And we fought. I fought for amendments to allow expanded neighborhood commercial across the city, so corner stores, not just on corners. Expanded flexibility for ADUs, removing harmful parking mandates, and together, alongside the Complete Communities Coalition, we dared to add 8 additional neighborhood centers across our city, opening up housing opportunity in neighborhoods that have historically locked people out from owning homes. We fought together, we won on some things, we didn't quite get there on some things, but I know that that will not slow down the work of the Complete Communities Coalition. None of that work we were able to accomplish last year in the Phase 1 legislation would have been possible without the Complete Communities Coalition. And now here we are, kicking off Phase 2. And already the Complete Communities Coalition has brought forward a number of amendments to pass this year to support mass timber, passive house, low-rise commercial, and to create a new courtyard block bonus. You all might know this, but land use is wonky. It's a little complicated, it's a little technical. I mean, there's floor area ratio, there's setbacks, and I mean, what really is the difference between LR1 and LR2? There's not actually that much of a difference. The real ones know. But underneath all that jargon, we know what this is really about. This is about whether a waitress, a bus driver, a teacher can live in the city they make run. This is about confronting our city's racist history of redlining and making a different choice this time. This is about building the housing we need for our unhoused neighbors, our new neighbors who are fleeing other states right now to come to this welcoming city. But how welcoming are we truly if you can't afford to live here? And this is about taking the climate crisis seriously and building a city where you don't have to own a car because you can walk, roll, and take transit to your work, your school, and wherever you go to have fun. And I'll close with this, because over the weekend, I joined Family Works at the opening of their food bank in the heart of Wallingford, co-located alongside the Wallingford Seattle Public Library branch. And to get home, I hopped on the Route 44, and then very easily transferred to light rail. And as you can guess, because now with the opening of the Cross Lake Connection, I didn't have to wait for that light rail train very long. I was back home in my apartment in Capitol Hill in less than 30 minutes. And it was on that very short, remarkably short for me, commute back home, I took a moment to take in what I had seen during that commute. Diversity in every sense of the word, abilities, ages, race, gender expression, and more. And more than that, I saw something that I believe the Complete Communities Coalition embodies: the genuine care for our neighbors. Because whether it's graciously giving up your seat for someone else on the bus who needs it, or fighting for a zoning change so a family can live in a neighborhood with clean air and not on a polluted arterial, that's community care. So, together, we choose housing, we choose each other, and we choose a future with complete communities. So thank you, everyone. I can't wait to hear your voices in council chambers shortly. Continue to make your voice heard. Tell your neighbors, tell your friends. Now let's create a comp plan that truly works for our city. Thank you.
And one more time for Councilmember Alexis Mercedes Rinck. Thank you for always being our longtime champion on council. I want to shout out, I saw Councilmember Lynn here. Raise your hand. Are you still here? Probably inside doing work. Oh, no, there he is. Okay. Thank you so much for also just really stewarding this work as the chair of the Land Use Committee and being really committed to working with us to figure out a bold plan for the future. We really appreciate you. That goes shout out to Councilmember Foster as well and many other folks, Councilmember Hollingworth and others who are working with us on these amendments that will mean that our comprehensive plan can get closer to aligning with our city's values. And thank you all again. One more round of applause for yourselves for showing up and getting engaged and making sure that we have an affordable, inclusive, welcoming city in the decades to come. I'm just gonna close. Yeah. I'm gonna close by saying I think do we still have pizza over there? Yeah, we still got pizza. Go get some pizza if you haven't. We've got some info over here. There's emails that you can send to council. We have some ability to make some signs. We have a little bit of time between now and when we're actually going to be giving public comment. But who here has been to one of these before, a public hearing before? Yeah, so you all know this line can be really, really long. So we really wanted to get here early so that our people can get in, get their comments, make their voices heard without maybe having to be here until 9 o'clock at night, as I'm sure some of you have been. Yeah. Get in there first, make your voices heard, but get some pizza, make a sign, send out an email, talk with each other, sign up for our mailing list, and get plugged in future stuff. Thank you all so much for coming out here. We're going to go in, and we're going to make it known that we need more housing. Thanks, y'all.